Well, welcome. I'm Lee Jenkins. I want to welcome you to part two of manifesting results. Now, in part one, our focus was on a worthy destination. So I hope that you spent a little bit of time creating and visualizing your worthy goals, and you now have an idea of what it is that you want in life. So next, the question is okay, now how do we get there? What's the next step? I've discovered that we often go through life without any conscious awareness of the reality that we call our lives. You see, we're programmed to act, think, and behave in a certain way. You see, life is based on a series of habits. And those habits, well, that programming, which we call paradigms, has dictated who we are as human beings starting at a really, really early age. That's why most people aren't doing what they want to be doing in their lives. So, if you want to change your results, this is important. You need to change your mind. You need to change how you think. You need to think differently than you probably have in the past. So, the goal here in this part of manifesting results is to guide you to an updated way of thinking and help you become more consciously aware of how to remove the divide between your worthy destination and how to get started. How to get started in manifesting results that you want. Now, I'm confident that you'll be amazed how different your world will look when you do change your paradigms. It most definitely has for me. This information that I will share with you could be one of the most profitable ideas you'll ever focus your attention on. And I'm sure that you more than likely do focus on this sometimes, but unfortunately, might be more like a passing thought. You know, there's an enormous difference between what most people know and what they actually accomplish. I'm just thinking for a moment when I say most people, I could say almost everyone, because we have all been conditioned to think in a certain way. It's part of our early conditioning. Think for a moment. See the environment we were born into, our whole education system. It's all based on getting people to know things, right? We study the books our teachers give us. We study what's in the book or ask questions about what's in the book in an exam. And well, if we know the answer to those questions, we receive a passing grade, may even earn a degree. Now, here's the issue with that. We can be filled with a tremendous library of knowledge and still not be living a very compelling life. Just think about that for a moment. Some of the most brilliant people in the world never actually accomplished much. And then we could find another individual who may have very little formal education and they're incredibly successful. They're billionaires. Why is that? How does that happen? Well, I found some time ago that the best way to become consciously aware, we must study how our minds work. So let's do that. Now, the way of explaining the mind that I want to share with you today was introduced to us back in 1934 by Dr. Thurman Fleet. But you're going to find it was popularized by my mentor, Bob Proctor. So let's start thinking of the mind as described by Thurman Fleet. Now, he explained that there are two parts of our mind. The one part that gathers information, that's the part our education system focuses on. Now, here's the issue with that. People gain knowledge, but don't necessarily act on the knowledge they gained. And the other side of it is we can find this divide seems to even get more expansive the older we get, because guess what? We know more. We've experienced more. But we seem to do less, which generally causes an enormous amount of frustration. That frustration is expressed in all kinds of behavior patterns that, well, probably not conducive to profit in an organization or good results in a person's life. That behavior will likely manifest results that you don't necessarily want. Yet, most people keep behaving the same way, right? Constantly repeating the results that they don't want. Now, this kind of struck home when I was thinking about it. It's a scenario that May strike home with you, but it certainly has with me once or twice. Think of the number of people that go on a diet, especially at the end of the year, perhaps a New Year's resolution. But a couple of days later, they see a piece of cake. They know they shouldn't eat it, but they just can't resist and they eat it anyways. Now, here's the interesting fact. That lapse in willpower is found in our conditioning. It goes back to what I've already said. It's our habits. It's our paradigms. So how do we change those paradigms? Well, that's going to take us to the second part of our mind, the subconscious mind. It's the part of the mind that causes our behavior. And of course, it's our behavior that will determine our results. Suppose we don't become consciously aware of the primary cause of our results. Well, then, there won't be any permanent change. The paradigm is that section in our subconscious mind that gathers the habits. That's what a paradigm is. It's a multitude of habits. And a habit is an idea fixed in a person's subconscious mind. And that causes them to do something without any conscious thought. Now, we all have an enormous number of habits. Some are good, some are not so good. Think about it. When we get up in the morning, it's a habit. There's some sort of routine that we follow. We move into, we just automatically start doing things. With me, it usually starts with coffee. Stop and think of people you know in business. Think of all the people the people that maybe come in late all the time. They're always late. They may get chastised by management. They may have a good talking to about it. And they probably are on time for a couple of days at least. But then the next thing you know, they're late again. In fact, they probably always got a great excuse. It's generally a really good excuse. But you know what? It's never the reason why they're late. You see, they're programmed to run late. That's what they're programmed to do. It's a paradigm. Now, there can be someone else that's always early. Think about that. Well, that's part of their paradigm. Let's think of salespeople for a moment. Millions are spent on sales training every year, but there's not a lot of great salespeople. There could be, but there's not. I witnessed this when I was in real estate. Anyone can be a great salesperson, but not everyone is. So we train the people. We show them how to do things, but they don't do it. See, all training people know how to make presentations. They know how to overcome objections. They know how to close a sale, but that doesn't mean they're going to. And this goes on and on and on. You can go into a factory or an office and you're going to find people that perform way below the level they could be performing at. See, the thing here is knowing is not enough. What matters is the results. And the results are always the story. They tell how that person is programmed. And when I start working with my clients, I start by asking a series of questions. See, I want to find out, how are they programmed? And the reason being is so I can help them focus on the changes needed to get results no matter what they are, whatever those programs are. Questions like, what's the most you've ever earned in a year? Now, understand, there is no wrong answer here. The questions are designed to help me understand how their mind is programmed, in this case, concerning money. I'm looking to get a handle on their history, their patterns, and the results caused by their paradigms. If we begin to understand the paradigm, we begin to understand the power of habit. We begin to understand how this subconscious mind is programmed. And that's when we can start to change it. Now, let's think of a newborn baby arriving on the scene. Whatever's happening around that baby in their new environment goes right into that baby's subconscious mind. All the ideas, all the thoughts go right into that baby's subconscious mind. Now, when that baby grows up, ventures out into the world, guess what? They're already programmed by the environment they grew up in. Think of this for a moment. Food. Most of the food you eat, you didn't actually decide you liked it. It was food that was given to you before you had any conscious ability to make your own decisions. You didn't think about whether you liked it or not. You see, you were given food that our parents liked. You would need to go a long way back on the family tree to find out who decided for you to do many of the things that you're actually doing today. Now, I know at first that might be a little difficult to grasp, but you study it, even just study it for a short period of time, you're going to start to see it. It'll become more obvious. You will start to recognize these habits. These habits, these paradigms are passed along from one generation to the next. You see, we're programmed. Understand that when we arrive on the scene as a baby, our subconscious mind is wide open. Whatever's going on around us goes right into our subconscious mind, and the constant repetition of this new information fixes those ideas into our subconscious mind. In other words, the people we were surrounded by had more to do with who we are today than whatever is built into our genes. Now, think of this. The baby doesn't have any choice about their environment. They didn't choose where they were going to be born. They're just here. And they're being programmed every single day of their new life. That programming, well, goes on for the first few years until the baby starts to consciously think for themselves. But you know what? At that time, that programming is pretty much set. Their thinking is already there. That person is programmed to think in a certain way. Now, as I've already mentioned, it's the paradigm that causes us to behave as we do. This can explain why a person rarely does anywhere near what they could achieve. See, the issue here is your conscious mind that makes decisions. It truly is. It's your conscious mind that does that. We make decisions based on different factors, but the decisions we make are generally not necessarily carried out, though. Why? See, we can be sitting in meetings and we can decide we're going to do things. We can spend all kinds of time strategizing. But guess what? Frequently, the strategy isn't executed. Why? Well, it's because of the paradigms. Now, if we sat down and we were open and honest about our paradigms, and we take a good look at our behavior patterns, you'll see that you might not accomplish your goals because you're not programmed to do it. And if you do want to accomplish it, well, guess what? You're going to need to change the program. You're going to need to change the paradigm. That's what this program manifesting results was designed for. It's about changing paradigms. See, thinking by itself will not change results. It must be internalized. It's done by becoming consciously aware of how. And it's done through repetition. Understand, it's a process that you can learn. When the paradigm has changed, the behavior will change. And of course, the results will change. Now, when I started learning this information, I realized that many of the things that I was taught, well, they weren't true, at least for me. I was taught I'd be set for life if I got a job with a stable company that offered a fair wage, a good medical and pension plan. You know what's not true? I followed that program, and I can tell you from experience, it doesn't work. So I trust you're starting to see the power of your mind and the effect that your thoughts have on your results. And not just the thoughts in your conscious mind, but more importantly, the thoughts deep down in your subconscious mind. See, we're starting to become more consciously aware of the role of paradigms here in both our personal and professional life. See, understanding this is critical to understanding why we get so frustrated at times. It's because of this divide between what we know and what we actually do. And that divide is caused by unseen thoughts in your subconscious mind. So if you're not getting the results you want, well, it's because your paradigms are controlling your behavior. Change the paradigm, and you're going to change the results you're getting. So ask yourself, what is the divide between what you know you should do and what you actually do? Ask yourself that. What is your knowing doing divide? Take time with that question. Think about it. Really take time with it, because it will open your eyes to why you do what you do. And it'll help you change your behavior for the positive results that you're looking to manifest. Now, I look forward to seeing you in part 3 of Manifesting Results as we discuss how to turn those habits that are keeping you from your goals into thoughts that will change your behavior and in turn create new paradigms. Until next time, I'm Lee Jenkins.